Hi, this is Tim Ryan. Welcome to another episode of the Tim and Jenn Show. I am sitting here with my co-host, my best friend, my business partner, my amazing wife.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Jimenez Ryan, and thank you for that intro, babe.
You are beautiful. I love you.
I love you too.
But,
I mean, okay, so let's get a little bit. I'm just going to go straight to the point.
Straight to it.
We drove back today from the Keys, and we were there for 5 days. And when we were there, I realized that we haven't taken time off for ourselves in over 13 months. 13 months.
When's the last time?
Like, I don't know if
No, Hawaii. That was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but we did go to the Keys in the beginning of 2019.
Yeah, but it wasn't
2020 rather.
But anyhow, we took some self-care time.
But on the way there, I had been talking to Tim, and I was like, babe, I just want, can I just have one day with just my husband and our family, and his stepdaughter.
Hold on, no cell phone, no social media.
And, Abby, Tim's daughter, my stepdaughter, went with her two girlfriends, so it was like 19 and 20-year-olds, and Tim's parents lived down there during the season, and I was like, I just want no phone at all, and no social media. So when we were driving over there, what'd you do?
I thought about it, and you know what? I get too caught up in social media, and it can be very negative. So I got on my phone and I deleted Facebook, I deleted Twitter, I deleted LinkedIn, I deleted Instagram. And
I nearly
looked
fell
at
out
Jenn
when I was
and told
driving.
her, this is the first time literally in 7 years that I've completely disconnected from social media and technology for a solid 4.5 days.
Yeah.
And I don't think I took any calls. And it was absolutely amazing because I'll speak on me, the I statement. I was present the whole time. And Jenn and I laughed our asses off. We had an amazing time. We had great quality time with my mom and dad.
We
with
swam
my daughter.
with the mermaids, and
Yeah,
I do
we
believe in mermaids.
swam in the ocean.
Manatees were there.
Yeah, my parents took us through the canals, looking at some beautiful houses, and you'd zig and zag and go to this restaurant in the boat.
But we laughed.
And there was 2 massive manatees, but the self-care time is so important, especially with everything that was going on, COVID still going on, the elections, all that crazy stuff.
Well, I feel like we had to really reevaluate. Like last year was really a brutal year for bidding, but when we got sick and when we were saying our goodbyes on 2 different occasions, it just changed the perspective for me and for you. And we realized the things that used to serve us no longer serve us. For me, is being healthy, our families being healthy, and finding our happy and enjoying and creating, like you said today, when we left, you said, babe, let's go create moments.
More memories and moments.
Yeah, and it was it blew me away because that's, at the end of the day, that's all we get to take with us, right?
That's all you can take with you.
And we're really reevaluating a lot of things in our lives.
And we're fortunate that we get to do that.
We really are. But, I think that listen, we were in survival mode for a hot minute, for a long time. Yeah. And I knew that I needed to change things in order to be happy. And I needed us to change things. But the whole entire time, we were on the same page. We just knew we needed to get through the survival time. So for those who are listening that are like, I don't get to create my moments and, take a vacation or whatnot. You can, but right now, if you're having to do what you need to do to get through what you need to get through, you'll get through that, but also have goals and have things. For me, sometimes my walking, and I've been talking about it for months now on our podcast, I do my walks because we were on lockdown in California. I did my walks, and that was my me time.
But let's go even deeper for the people that can or whatever. 7 years ago, I was sitting in a prison cell. I was a prisoner. I lost everything. I got out and rebuilt my entire life. I work in a different industry. I rebuilt everything
I mean, and I did too. You know, and I wasn't in prison, but like
the point is, you can change. You can say, I don't want to do this, because if you're in a job that you don't like, you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true, and I agree with you on 100%. I know that we got to get to our guests right now, but I want to talk about this because it's really important. What you were saying about social media, you know, you felt like at times, like everyone's like, you got to be on social media for your brand or for this, or you want to, you know, discuss because you're angry about politics or this or your opinion, and then you want to attack other people because you're miserable. And that's why you're attacking other people. And I don't really care what you say about us or me, really. But it's like social media served its purpose, but it no longer serves you the way it used to. And if you choose to be on social media, it serves you the way you want it to. It doesn't have to be it serve you like the vice versa.
But I look at it, you know, my friend list is maxed out. I have all these followers. But how many true friends do I really have?
Yeah,
how many people do I really exactly? Do these people pay my bills? Does their opinion really fucking matter to me? No, it doesn't. So kick rocks with no shoes. What we do want to promote on social media is the Tim and Jenn show and the badass guests we have on the show.
You know, why don't we get to
and we
one of, I mean, I just said her name, but one of my dearest friends. I'm so honored to call her my one of my partners trudging this road with me and you and Jim, her husband.
Yeah, I mean, she's a badass with KTLA News. You watch all the time.
It's my favorite Los Angeles.
She's an author.
Yes.
She's an actress.
She is, and she's been in a bunch of magazines, and she's been in a bunch of, like, it's so funny because we've been binge watching a lot of things, and in 1 week, our guest was on 4 of the TV shows and movies we're watching. I'm like, there's our girl again.
And she's 11 plus years sober. Let's welcome Courtney Friel to the show. Hi, Courtney.
So great to see you guys. I'm jealous you're in Florida.
It's so good to see you. How are you doing?
I am doing well. And what you guys were talking about before you came to me, I can really relate to, because I'm having chronic pain and for 3.5 years now, and realizing that the important stuff is health and it's not material things. It's obviously having the relationships and having better days, because some days are worse than others.
So you've had migraines.
Well, I know that you've been going through a lot for
3.5
years, and I know, you know, we've talked about this and stuff. So, I mean, I just couldn't imagine having a headache every single day, like every single day for 3.5 years. And just what, are you getting a lot of people? Because I get a lot of people that reach out to me when I have chronic pain, and they'll be like, you know, maybe, you know, you should do this or that. Like, are you getting a lot of that?
Oh, yes. From viewers, from friends of friends. And I understand where they're coming from, that they want to help. But I have been working on this for 3.5 years, and the 3 years that I had this before in my early 20s. And I've had like many neurologists quit on me. We can't figure out what the issue is. And I wish people just understand that I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs in pain. I have been seeing tons of doctors, spending tons of money doing this. And if I was to fight this, like on everyone's suggestions, I would be bankrupt, and I'd be seeing a different doctor 3 times a day, every day. And I have a full-time job and 2 children that are also in the mix.
Yeah. And your recovery, and you're newly married. That's a lot.
Yes, although my husband is working nonstop, so everyone's like, how's being married? I'm like, it's great, I never see him.
Pain shifts your perspective. Mm-hmm. You know, I was a competitive barefoot water skier, and at 21 was the last time I competed, and I blew out 3 discs in my lower back. But that chronic pain has followed me, knock on wood. 3 years ago, I slipped getting in a truck, was able to get a cortisone shot, but the pain for a month, knock on wood, it has not come back. But I take care of myself to the best of my ability, but I can't do a lot of things I used to. And her pain.
When you're in chronic pain, like, people are like, oh, I understand. Like, no, like, and you're like, you don't. I mean, like, first of all, I have like a back brace on and I'm doing all the things in the physical therapy, and the doctors, and they're doing MRIs and all that stuff. But like, I can't imagine every single day having a migraine. Like when I get the migraine, they're awful, and they come in seasons for me. But I couldn't imagine having that, and I cannot imagine a neurologist putting on me. Like that's a lot. I didn't know that one.
Look, 1 in 6 Americans are in chronic pain, and migraines, headaches, they're in the top 20 disabilities in the country. So migraines are very, you can't explain them, and chronic pain is different to every person. So what might work for one person, and that's what they're pushing on me, my pain is different. And look, I think with everyone in chronic pain, you have good days and bad days. So the bad days really suck. And I'm just grateful for that today wasn't as bad as 2 days ago. I would love it to go away one day. I'm doing everything I can. Every day I surrender about it. I pray about it. I'm doing therapy. I'm reading 3 chronic pain books right now. I mean, I've got a lot going on, and I'm sober. So I work a program and I can't take pain pills. And when I had this problem, the same problem back in my early 20s for 3 years, it was quite different then, because I lived in San Diego and I would go to Tijuana and I would put 100 Soma muscle relaxers in this bra and 100, Vicodins or Oxycontins or whatever in this bra, and come back across the border. And I was just I would go to class and I would sleep all day, and I would be messed up on muscle relaxers. I remember one time I went to an audition and I had so many muscle relaxers in me, I could not get the words out. And that the people are probably like,
I know she's done a few things like that.
You probably like, what the hell is wrong with her? What drugs is she on? Like, I'm mortified. I hope that video never surfaces again.
Let me ask you a question. In your journeys to Mexico, did you ever have a run-in with law enforcement?
Yes, and it's in my book. I was doing cocaine in my car, and a federale knocked on the window and was like, we're going to have to go to the bank. That'll be $200. So went to the ATM, gave him the money, and then I had the balls to ask him for the Coke back, and he gave it to me. I went to a party and later that night, and I was like, yes, this Coke is really expensive tonight.
And you can check that out in Courtney's book, Tonight at 10, Kicking Booze and Breaking News by Courtney Friel. Check it out. It's an amazing book.
You wrote completely on your own.
I wrote it, and it is, I keep it real, as I like to say, and it's not, so with reading these chronic pain books, I'm kind of exploring the market for that. And the first step with writing my book was reading a bunch of recovery books to see what was out there. And a lot of the books out there is here's all the crazy shit I did. Here's what rehab was like. Then I got sober, the end. And you're like, well, wait a second. Are they still sober? Then what happened? So I didn't want it to be just all the crazy stuff. So that's the crazy stuff's in the first 2 chapters. Rehab is in chapter 3. And then it's okay, what is new sobriety like? And what about divorce and getting sober, dealing with chronic pain, and my crazy news reporting stress, and then how to have fun sober. I really wanted it to be kind of like a how-to book, but a lot of entertaining stories and inspirational stuff in there as well.
Which is it's amazing. I really suggest people who are newly sober or just in general to please read this book. I think it's so important for people to have their voices and their stories and be able to relate to what you've done and what you've been through, because you've overcome it, and you have such a funny way of expressing it, because I feel like we're all funny, right? And you gotta kind of lighten up a little bit.
But I like what she talked about too, is the whole book wasn't a damn drunk-a-log. I partied, I did a bunch of blow, all my crazy stories, I ate Xanax, I went to treatment, and it's like the TV show Interventions. All the time work within 5 minutes at the end. Okay, they went to rehab, they're 90 days sober. No, let's talk about what happens in recovery. In my life, because you got a good life, but you've also busted your ass to get where you're at, Courtney. And a lot of people, I think in your situation with how young you were, being on Fox News and being in New York and having a great career and then having it implode, you could have destroyed yourself, and you didn't. Your career has excelled.
Well, I mean, the question here, I feel like, is like, it's interesting because like you have to be on air. You're on all, you know, when you're out there and you're in the public eye, but yet you're going through all this stuff right now, right? And like, how are you able to like have those two things going on at the same time and get through it? Like how, and then get sober and do the same thing?
Well, first of all, I realize that my bottom is higher than some or most people. I didn't lose my job, thankfully. This was proactive to go to rehab on my part. It was intervention. I didn't have a big viral moment and then have my work tell me you gotta go. And I was able to just come back to work, and I did lose some of my airtime, and fortunately I was able to just focus on my recovery, and that's how I got through it one day at a time. And I have 11 and a half years sober, and I put the intention out for the book that I wanted to have it by the time I was 10 years sober, and that ended up happening. And I'm just so grateful for being sober. And I just wanted to share the message that you don't have to never have fun again. You're not some boring bump on a log that is miserable all the time. And I am lucky that I still have my job, and everybody's like on a train with, you know, addiction. Like you can hop on and hop off at any point, but like it's all going towards to smashing into a cement wall. And so I could have probably gone on. I mean, everything looked great on paper. Nobody, you know, a lot of people were like, I can't believe all that was happening behind the sidelines or behind the scenes. But how much do we really know? I mean, you guys, I know you guys pretty well, but like you could be like beating each other behind the closed doors. Yeah. Like we don't know what's really going on in people's lives for the most part. And so all that is in there, that whole story.
So let's go back though. Jenn was prepping for our discussion with you, and it talks about when you were 15 years old, you were bullied a lot as a kid growing up. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think that's part of why I became an alcoholic. Obviously, some of it is genetics and hereditary that was passed down from family, but I was really shy growing up. And then all through like elementary school, middle school, high school, people, specifically girls, but in all different groups, were really mean to me. And I didn't know how to stick up for myself. I was very like, turn the other cheek. That's what Jesus would do, because really religious. And two things happened. When I was 15, I started drinking alcohol, and that made me come out of my shell and have fun with all these people who liked to party and thought I was hilarious. And then I knew I wanted to be in news. And so I lived in the TV studio, and I just got this attitude like success is the best revenge. I'll show them. And then that led to my work hard, play hard career. So while I was at Fox News in New York, I mean, I lived at Fox News. I worked like 7 days a week. I was always there. But then after I was done, I was partying and with a lot of people at Fox News, and the bars were open till 4 a.m. And I always found cocaine, and just a constant cycle of Adderall and Ambien, and getting sober like stopped all the up and down, and I was just able to be calm. And if that's boring, then fine. But I love being zen, and the definition of fun just changes. Like going to a bar, I like to go to the spa, although we can't do that during COVID, but that is my new Friday night party activity. Or I want to be on a beach in a hammock reading a book.
But it's funny though. You mentioned a bar. When we were in the Florida Keys, my dad was telling stories about Ernest Hemingway and all this. And he was actually a bad alcoholic and a mean person.
Mm-hmm.
But he used to hang out at Sloppy Joe's bar, and Jenn's like, I just want to go in there. I want to spend some time and
I didn't say I wanted to go in there and feel like inspired by him, because I'm in the process of starting to write my book. So like,
so what happened?
We go there, and once we got to Key West, we were like, what are we doing here, right? Because, it's COVID world right now, and it's like the Wild Wild West. And we get in, and we're like, there's not a lot of people, and a lot of places are shut down, except Sloppy Joe's is one of the places that it was way too packed. And he's like, you want to go in? I go, I can see it from here. It's cool. Like,
we kept walking.
But like, so the way that you say all this, like, you were shy, and then you drank, and you were being bullied, and then not only were you working at Fox News, like, you're the youngest female to ever work there, like, to get hired there. Like, you had all these huge crazy,
at the time,
like, all these huge break, like, you were like, you did things people weren't doing, and then and women weren't doing, and then you're married, you have kids, and you're still working, and you're saying about all this stuff that you're doing, and then you got sober and boring life, like
divorced,
and divorced. You went through like this whole finding yourself. And it's hard for us women to stay sober and to be in the spotlight while you're doing all this. Like, that takes incredible courage to do it. And yet now you were our go-to for everything that's going on, like during COVID and all the stuff that we see. And like, I'm always like texting you or wondering like what's going on.
I want to go.
Wait, hold on. First, I want to mention about you being in Key West, because I have been to Key West in sobriety, and I remember thinking like, wow, this is such a party town. I would have had so much fun here. But you know what I did in Key West? We took the bikes and went all around on bikes. I went jet ski. That's the last time I was on a jet ski, and got massages, like laid out in the sun. Like, you were able to do those types of places without having to drink. You can go just be in one of those places, and people watch all those drunk fools and have the food and have the key lime pie. And I think there's like a drag queen show there or something like, and I went to see the Ernest Hemingway Museum. Like, there's so much you can do now in sobriety that doesn't involve the alcohol, but I've done the whole travel, and all you want to do is get drunk, and then you're hungover the whole time.
What was the history of Key West you learned from my dad? What was it?
A lot of ghosts there, a lot of bad spirits, a lot of things that were happening.
But why?
Go ahead. I don't know, baby.
Because all the Indians, during the wars, all the Indians that were murdered, they threw the dead bodies on Key West. Key West was the graveyard.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's bad spirits. So if you think about it, like, spirits of drinking and stuff, there's this thing that I did when I got sober. One of the first times I got sober, I would look at people, and I'd go out, right? And I'd look at people, and I'm like, watching them transform, right? And like, and then all of a sudden, like, they pass that one drink too many, and then they turn into serpents in a weird way. And it's like that coolness that I wish I got comfortable with my own skin turned into you're sloppy and ugly. Like, and that was me, it gave me liquid courage, but then it didn't. Like, so we were watching these kids in one of the places we were at, and we were like, oh my God, I still remember who, like, being like a tool like that. You know what I mean? Not that they were bad people, but like, they were just trying to fit in so bad, and I remember that. And
the Jersey crew riding their scooters, and in this set, I see this 65, 70-year-old man in front of a bar, and up on the roof, there's a big fish with an open mouth. And all the people on the street are watching him, and he's obviously totally shit-faced, and he's trying to throw a quarter up to land in the mouth of the fish, and he's like, once it does, you all have to buy me a beer. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, but I was that guy that partied in Key West, and all that's just not what we do anymore. We can enjoy life.
It's just a new chapter, and most people will never get to experience sobriety. And that was another thing I just wanted to show people, like, hey, I didn't have this plan for my life to get into AA and sobriety and all that stuff. That was not a plan, but I feel very lucky that it happened. And that's why I have no regrets of my past. And my husband is sober as well. And so many of my friends are sober, and we can all go do things and have fun together. And you guys kind of got the timeline a little off with, I didn't have kids until I was sober in new sobriety.
Okay.
So they are almost 9 and 10 now, and they've never seen mommy under the influence, and I'm 100% present for them. And they are the blessings of my sobriety.
Wow.
That is amazing.
That is absolutely awesome. What was it like though, going through a divorce in sobriety and having kids?
Yeah, well, years 5 and 6 for me of sobriety were my divorce years, like, because I was with my ex-husband for 12 years, and it was an amicable split, but it was so devastating to me. Just the death of a 12-year relationship and the death of like the family unit for 2 years, like I cried non-stop. And then I was single for 4 years before I met Jim, and was very lonely and trying to date in Los Angeles. And you realize, wow, there's a lot of people with addictions out there. And then there's people who don't want to date you because you're sober. And that's fine. I mean, I did so much self-help. Like the 2 most horrible times in my life were the first week of rehab and the first week of my divorce. Like I never want to do those weeks again ever, but from that painful experience, the best stuff came to me. Like getting divorced forced me to do a ton of work. I started doing yoga. I started meditating. Like I had more time to read self-help books and go to, new moon ceremonies, or like I just did all this weird stuff like trapeze, whatever. Like it was like my new high. Like I want to do all this stuff. And I'm so grateful. Like sometimes you have to make hard decisions like that in order to, sorry, my dog is like barking.
Okay. But I can tell you, Courtney, we've been to your house. We've seen your family structure with Jim, with your kids.
But
and
you
it's
have a
happy.
great relationship with your ex-husband and his girlfriend or wife, and like you guys do Christmas, or like you guys all take pictures
Halloween,
together.
all the
like,
holidays, yeah. I always say I have a love story divorce. I have a great relationship with my ex-husband, his wife and I work together. And now my new husband and old husband are cool. Like we hang out for all the birthdays and holidays and whatnot. And we live like 5 minutes away. It's so great. And a lot of people who are sober who have wives or husbands, they also are in civil with each other. And I think that's what sobriety does. Like, first of all, I don't want to have resentments with anyone in my life, because that will just eat me up inside. So I have to journal away and work that out and get okay with it, because I don't want to be in a toxic situation anywhere. Like, so when I got divorced, like I didn't want to stay in the house. And so I let my ex like stay in the house, and I would go back and sometimes feel sad for myself. Like, oh, he gets to have the house and he has, the new wife and like all that. But I was like, no, I know like one day I'm going to have a better house with a better person, and that relationship wasn't good for me. So I am great. And I would just be like, I'm grateful. I'm in my 1-bedroom apartment or 2-bedroom apartment. I'm grateful. And it all ended up working out. Like that shit really works.
You manifested.
No, you manifested. I always say, like, whatever you believe. I did a lot of that spiritual work, and I did the drum circles, and like I really do believe what you think, your beliefs become your thoughts become your beliefs. So you gotta be really careful what you say, and like the gratitude and all the basics that we learn in recovery. Like 2.5 years ago in 2018, like I went through this whole like cycle of change. Like everything, I got comfortable with the uncomfortable, and I got done. I was done. I learned the lessons of things, and like I wanted to like grow more, and I needed to go through that journey. It was another chapter in my life, and it's such a beautiful thing to hear you say that. That you've been through these stages where you've done that, and you constantly do this. And we were having a conversation, you and I, and you said something that like blew me away, because I said, you said, I am not afraid of dying anymore. And I was like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. Like, to hear someone say that.
Well, wait, the rest of that was, and I love how you like found that so profound, but the relationship I have with my ex and his wife, like I love her so much that I feel like if I died, then my kids would be taken care of and they would go on having like an awesome stepmom, and they would go on having that family unit. I'm not saying I want to die, and trust me, chronic pain, there's been times where I felt like I want to die, or I'm like, a Big Mac truck, please just come and hit me. But I can't think those thoughts because I do have kids, but it's just it just shows the strength of that relationship that I feel that way. Cause I'm like, okay, well, if I'm boarding a plane, whenever we can friggin' fly again, I'm like, all right, well, if this plane goes down, like I know my kids are taken care of.
Yeah.
But that's very powerful for you to say that, Courtney, and sincerely mean it. And you're very fortunate, because unfortunately my 5-year-old's daughter is not a good person, and these things you're saying, it's just,
your daughter,
and you're blessed there. You're very blessed.
Yeah, but
you put in the work.
You have to work on it, because if I had been a jerk, then I guarantee my ex would have been a jerk. I mean, we also both know, like, okay, we both need to be employed, because if one of us isn't employed, like, and here's, I mean, we split everything down the middle, 50-50. There's never been any alimony or child support. So I understand that there would be more resentments probably if I was paying for him or he was paying for me. So that makes the dynamic a little easier, I guess.
Well, it's coming to like trying to find peace within the situations, and like some, we just pray a lot. We pray a lot.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do. But you have technology too, and things like that, and we get to travel because we've had our vaccines, and then we get to hop on.
We're very cautious, though, too.
We're present in all my kids' life, so life is good there. I want to jump to something else. Why is it that when Jenn and I were kind of on COVID and we binge watch a lot, every damn show we watch, you're on.
And movies.
Startup and movies.
Like the one, I was like, one of my favorite movies ever. I'm like, there's Courtney again, babe. Like all like 4 movies.
Oh, I'm gonna be on Shameless in like a few episodes.
That's awesome. That is.
And I have an audition for the next American crime horror story. It's the one about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky.
I just saw somebody is playing Hillary. I forgot it now. God, I hate the whole thing. I forget.
Cross your fingers, because I already did one audition for it and I didn't get it, but maybe I can get this one that I have to tape tomorrow. But look, I'm very typecast, you guys. I only ever play anchors or reporters.
That's still pretty cool, and that series Startup, we watched that. That's a great series.
Yeah, but you were an American. Was it American?
Goliath? Triple X?
American Horror Story, Goliath. I was in 3 episodes of Veep. Yeah, I've had the L Word. Yeah, I've had good roles. Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun. Like, do you like doing that?
Oh yeah, those are fun things. I mean, of course, my ego is like, why can't they just see me on TV and just hire me? Like, why do I have to like, can't they just look at my demo reel? Like, I'm clearly capable of reading this line as an anchor, okay? Because that's what I do. And then I'm like, well, now, thankfully, like, it's changing because of COVID. I'm like, I'm not taking off a day of work to go to an audition and then go to a callback. Like, no, I have a full-time job. Like, come on.
What's out there that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
I think that I want to stop covering so much bad news and focus on more Friel better stuff. I want to start a segment like that because I just think that some of my chronic pain I think that through like osmosis in this past year, like I just don't think all this bad news is good for me. So I'm kind of coming to like, with my therapist, I'm back in therapy. I haven't had therapy since when I got sober in the beginning. So I'm adding that into the mix now. And
that's great.
So
I told Jim, I was like, this chick's gonna make me quit my job.
So, Courtney,
you better be prepared for me to have no income.
So Jennifer,
we were talking about
she does a lot of due diligence. I read your Wikipedia and I go, but she's studying all this stuff, and she said, one thing we need to talk with Courtney about, because you've covered a lot of things.
Yeah.
What are some of the?
Well, I'm like, one thing we gotta talk. Like, I wonder if it affects you. Like, covering so much trauma,
shootings, or
is it affecting you? And here you are saying that,
Yeah.
And yet be really careful about how we say it, because I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable either. Like talking about
here's what my therapist said. She's like, Courtney, because I've kind of known her like, well, she's my my husband's therapist of like 20 years. So I've met with her here and there, like with him. And she was like, Courtney, you are just such an angel of light and positive, and you cannot meditate your way out of this poisonous news, because sometimes shit is just shit.
Yep.
Wow, that is so profound, because I have all these helpful tools after like a horrible day of covering like all the X, Y, and Z bad crap. And so then I use those tools like journaling and meditating and all of those things. But she's so right. Like, especially at local news, like it is just bad news. And in the past, I've covered entertainment or feature and all that stuff. But for the past 8 years, it has just been like death and destruction. And this past year of COVID, like, I think a lot of people after this past year across the board are reassessing their life.
Yeah.
Amen. Can I ask you, Courtney, what's one of the hardest things you've covered that you just said, that maybe pushed you saying, I don't know if I can keep doing this? What's one of those things
up until COVID, the hardest story I've had to do was the 2 weeks of covering the Las Vegas shooting, because that broke during my newscast. I was out there. I mean, I was chasing, 35 of the victims were from California. So I was chasing around all of their families. I mean, I cried multiple times, even on air. I mean, I remember like coming back and I had to take a sick day because I was just like on the floor, bawling my eyes out after one of the anchor nights, like, and debating calling like the crisis line. And I'm like, what are they going to tell me? Like they're not in my shoes. Like it was so awful. I mean, I remember having to write like 2 1.5-minute pieces on 35 victims. And I was how, and I was sobbing in my cubicle. I was like, how can I do this? Like on all these, on all these people, like I have to fit them all in 3 minutes. And then we did like a montage a week after it happened, like at the exact moment. And like they came back to me on camera. It was like music with the people. I was literally like sobbing. And actually it's like the most feedback I've ever gotten from viewers. But look, I mean, now with COVID, like we don't even talk about like individual people who died because there's so many. So I think that this past year has just been emotional on so many reasons, because I think there's a lot of politics involved as well. It's been frustrating for people, of course, who have lost loved ones, but so many people have lost their businesses and their jobs, and everything's changing, and it's just overwhelming. I've been nonstop COVID. That's pretty much, I haven't really done any other stories in the past year.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, like, I couldn't imagine having to cover that all the time, because like, I mean, I freak out like when we travel, or like, are we around people, like, be careful and this and that. Like, we're so conscious of what we're doing that you have to cover it constantly. It's like all embedded in your body, soul, spirit. It's like my sponsor always says, it's oozing out of your pores, right? Like whatever it is that we're dealing with or covering, you're covering. I just, I feel that being in the light, being a person of light, like shit is what your therapist said. Like it's so powerful. Shit is just shit. Like being a person of the light. I was going through some stuff, and we have Tim and I.
We have the same therapist.
Yeah,
too.
we have couples therapy, but I've been seeing him. So we
do individual.
I've been doing it for years with him. So I've had 3 different therapists in my sobriety, and this is my 3rd one because I went through different stages and chapters of my life. And I've been seeing my therapist for about 5.5 years. So I go into a different dynamic of where we're going and how we're going to work through things that I need to work through. And about 6 months ago, we were talking about this today. He's like, God, it was so great to see you laugh a lot this last 5 days. Because like 5 months ago, there was so much toxicity going on with certain people that Tim has to deal with, that I was like, I can't do this. Like I'm a different type of person. Like I didn't realize, like, it's light, it's intuition, it's,
it's not even, it's deeper though, because what you're talking about, Courtney, with, I need to I want more positive news. I want more positive things in my life. You had the same shift 3 weeks ago. Jennifer was dealing with this lady that's been reaching out for help for 2.5 years, and the lady's got all her issues, but then the lady started spewing the sickness, her husband. I'm not going to get into it, but Jennifer finally looked at me and said, I don't know if this anymore, to the extent we're doing.
And I talked to Brandon Novak, who told me to tell you hi, by the way. And he was like, yeah, like that's, I was like, I'm going to a place where I felt like maybe this is not what I want to do. It's not like, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear what people are going through. Like, that's not if you want help, like I can guide you.
Imagine being a therapist.
Yeah, if they have tools. Like, I don't have the therapist tools,
I would only want to be a therapist if I had like people like me who are like, tell me what I can do. Like, I'm down. Like, I want to know. But like, someone's like, bitching,
I mean,
and not listening to me about my advice.
I just had an awakening. Like, in a weird way, that's what's been happening to me. People come to me and tell me their negative, dark things. I'm not here to save you. I can't, like, what's gone on with you, I'm really sorry, but if you want help, I can,
guide and direct you,
and read my post or whatever, like, guide and directing people. But having to have that energy constantly thrown at you, I mean, you're doing it every day and for a living, you know what I mean? So I can understand you wanting to, like, kind of, you're reevaluating and seeing things right now. I mean, that's really important. Like, we're in a different place.
I think a lot of people need to, that are listening to this podcast now, if you haven't, it's time to take a step back and really reevaluate where you want to go and what you want to do. And do you have that inner happiness? Because I don't think a lot of people do right now. I think a lot of people are stuck.
I mean, look, I could only be talking about like getting out of news because I'm now married and we have double income, but like I couldn't, before I met Jim, like I was in the same state of mind, but I had to support my children. So I completely honor everyone still having to have their job. And that's why I think, like, with chronic pain and looking at material things and stuff, it's like, maybe, I don't need the salary I need, and I could live on way less stuff and just be like really happy and not need all that stuff. Like, I don't need stuff anymore. I would do anything to.
My dad was talking.
We were talking.
We were talking about the same.
Before your dad, we were talking about it, going, like, especially because we got hit hard last year, and we were like, you know what, like what you started with, your health is the most important thing. Like, I was told last year, and it really hit me. Somebody goes, because I've heard it through the years, but last year someone goes, without health and a spiritual power greater than you, then you have nothing. And I thought, Jesus, like, after overgoing, like, COVID and all that, and like where we were at, like saying goodbyes to each other, if you don't have health and like going through the post long hauler shit that I'm going through, and if I don't have a spiritual connection with something bigger than me, and I call it God, it's just easier that way. I have nothing, not a thing. We were like, I'd rather be happy than have stuff. Because at the end of the day, when all's said and done, it's my day to go, and leave this world. Yeah. I'm not taking it.
None of
And
that
also,
stuff goes.
and also making memories, because like hanging out with friends, like my sober friends, and having a good time with that, like, or, you know, seeing them repeatedly at the meeting I throw once a week or whatever, like that has become like such a sacred time for me, like that I cherish so much. Or watching movies with my kids that I watched in my childhood and getting to see them watch it and experience it. That it's so weird how, I don't, is this getting old? We're just getting older. Is this why we're having?
No, you know what? No, it's a reality of it. I really think COVID had a lot to do, and I'm 8+ years sober. You're 15+. You're 11+. You know, Jim's 20+. But it is making those memories and quality memories and quality time with quality people. What was the thing we heard? I can show you a picture, but I don't want to show you the whole roll of film. You know. Today I get to choose who I want in my life, who I don't, what I can say yes to, what I can say no to. And it's a really cool thing. And we reinvented and started this podcast and doing some other things. And we get to, you know what, we're talking today. Do we want to stay in Florida another 3-4 weeks? We can go to LA, we can be here, we can go to Chicago. Guess what? We have choice today. And it's pretty badass.
That's great. You guys work for yourselves. That's amazing. Well, but see, for me, like it's weird because I wanted to be in news since 3rd grade. I watched the news with my dad, like religiously. Like it's been my entire life as far as my career goes. So for me to even think like about not doing it, like I always say news is the abusive husband you can't leave. And
I love that.
News people like would think I was crazy, like for doing that or whatnot. You know, I mean, people just don't like I've told what my therapist said to some of my news people, and they're like, really? I mean, that's like medical malpractice, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's horrible. And, So I think for a lot of, I'm sure, women who leave their jobs to have kids or whatever, I'm sure it's like a big life transition. And I'm not saying I'm there yet. I'm just saying it's definitely something on my mind. And I would love to be doing a Friel Better segment, especially out of COVID, because everybody is either become an alcoholic or gained weight and they want to feel better. Everyone just wants to feel better. Putting it out there into the universe. So if it's not a KTLA, I'm gonna make it happen and do it on my own, and it'll be on my social media.
But you know what I love about what I was taught and what you're saying is that seriously, what I was told, and I really believe this and I hold on to it, you can become and do whatever you want to do at any given moment. As long as you're sober, you can figure it all out. Like, you know, it's limitless what you can do and what you want to do. And like your dreams could be, it could, you know, I was able to reinvent because I chose to, like, it was not because like what happened, like it was supposed to happen. And I worked really hard for it, and I worked on myself really hard, and something I outgrew, and I moved on to the next, and like I got to dream bigger, and that's the beauty of all this, you know?
Yeah, and there's social media now, which is amazing. So even if you're not getting paid for it, you can still be happy and put it out there.
Well, look, you got married last year. Prior to that, you wrote a book, and then it came out during COVID, and then you threw a wedding. It was amazing how you did your wedding, and you were going through all this chronic pain, and yet you were still working and recording, and you made it all look effortless. I commend you for that. That takes a badass woman to do.
Thank you. But I do think it's catching up with me now. Like, I really think I need to just chill for a minute. But I can't. I'm constantly on the hamster wheel and go. I'm like, the more you have to do, the more you do type of person.
You know what, though? It's interesting because when I first met Jennifer and she'd hear I didn't put my phones on Do Not Disturb, and I would have to answer every call. And, you know, I've learned to slow down and slow my mind down and laugh and cherish things. And, you know, I was in the technology space for 23 years. And when I got out of prison, I went back into that. And 3 months in, I said, I don't want to do this. And the doors opened, and I am where I am today. And I look at this beautiful lady I'm married to, my dear friend I'm looking at here. I've got a fucking badass life. And I followed the path. I put in a little hard work. I stayed sober, and the doors open. And we can reinvent our stuffs. You can follow your dreams and make them a reality. And sometimes it's that little push, but I'll tell you, the best thing Jenn ever taught me is the word no. Can't do it. No, I can't do it. I had a lady reach out today to do her podcast about something. And I'm like, you know what? We've got a million things going on. Call me in a couple months, because we've got 5 other ones we're doing. We're doing this.
Yes and guy.
And I would say yes to everything. I don't do that anymore.
I think that's an alcoholic thing. I think we're all people pleasers, right? Well, not all. Well, when you're in active addiction, you're all about you.
No, you're right, Courtney. And believe me, I was a yes man, and I'll do this. And the amount of time I got to the point too, I'd have somebody relapse 5 or 6 times, and I'd find them another place. And these are people without a pot to piss and no insurance. And yeah, I'll do this. No, I'll help out once. If you don't get it, I wish you the best of luck, but it's not my job to save you. And I'm not having your negativity keep pulling me down because you try to pull me into it. I'll have a family call. I don't need to hear the background. What's the situation? How can I help you? That's it. Right to the point. I'm not sitting on a phone for 4 hours. Not happening.
Yeah.
My time's valuable. Your time's valuable. Your time's valuable. Yeah.
I love your openness and your honesty, and you're just so candid. And I want you to come back on. I know that
I was thinking, oh, does that mean about Hollywood is right now?
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Like, I want you to come back on. I feel like I don't want to go way too over with you, because I know that you're in chronic freaking pain right now. And I thank you so much for doing this show.
You guys got me an hour off of my TMJ mouthpiece that I'm trying to do for 6 months. So if I had been talking to you with it, I would have been lisping the whole time. And that's why I call it Cindy Brady. So I'm going to go and put Cindy back in my mouth. But
we love you. And we
I know maybe I should just not do news and join the Tim and Jenn show. Y'all need a blonde.
I think that's a great idea. Well, you guys could do some, and I can go chill, and I'll go hang out with your husband. You two can do the show.
That would be fun.
The studio should be open May 4th on Rodeo Drive, so you can shoot up there and work out of there. But Courtney, where can people find your book?
My book is only on Amazon, so you can find it there. And all of my social media, which I pretty much only actively do Instagram, but it connects to Twitter and Facebook, is at Courtney Friel. And hopefully look out for a Friel Better segment.
I love that. I love that.
She already put it on. It is done. It is done.
We would like to thank you, Courtney, for coming on the show. We'd like to thank Lux Media.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Courtney. We love you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a strong woman in sobriety.
Yes, and thank you again for coming on the show. For people that are listening that are struggling with mental health or substance abuse, go to dopetohope.com or give us a call at 844-611-HOPE, 844-611-4673. This is Tim and Jenn signing off. Thank you, Courtney Friel. We will see you soon.
Have a great day.
We want to talk to you about Clean Cause, better caffeine. What's in the can? Our organic, sparkling Herba Mate is a premium pick-me-up that won't let you down. Every can of Clean Cause contains 160 milligrams of better caffeine, and each sip supports recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. 50% of the profits go to assist people into sober living. Check out cleancause.com.
Hope. At Rosecrans, it's more than a wish. Hope has power. As the proven behavioral health leader in the Midwest, no other program offers our depth of experience and hope here at Rosecrans. And when someone you love struggles with substance abuse and mental illness, hope plays an important part in recovery. Life's got bigger plans for you. We should know. We're the most trusted name in treatment and the best choice for those who dare to hope. Visit us at rosecrans.org. Life's waiting.
Seaside Palm Beach is an executive luxury addiction treatment center located in Palm Beach, Florida. Our private clients come from all over the world, including business executives, professional athletes, celebrities, and more. Seaside Palm Beach offers first-class amenities and high-end accommodations, including a gourmet culinary experience, ocean views, pet-friendly facilities, and access to cell phones and laptops during your stay. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please call us at 877-959-5053. Again, that number is 877-959-5053.
Now, glutathione is a big word, but it's the body's own master antioxidant. So it's a scavenger for free radicals, for bacteria, and what's relevant now, viruses. This is new to the marketplace. There's no other product on the market that has the ingredient NACET.
And basically NACET increases the production of that glutathione that is in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system and keep it strong. Elevated sense of well-being. Supports muscle strength and endurance. Cognitive function. Powerful liver support. Energy. Helps blood sugar regulation. Superior bioavailability of key ingredients.
One of your best defenses against COVID is a strong immune system. Taking GSH Plus as a daily supplement does all that. And now we have the product out on the marketplace.